breaks out of the pack, and Ahman Green. Santana off with the gap. Holy Toledo! Look at that. What a run!
Haynesworth diving over into the backfield.
Stacked by Spikes. As Toon breaks loose.
These aren't your Hall of Famers. Some aren't even household names, but you can't sleep on this group of NFL legends. Strap in for episode 6 of The Greatest Forgotten Players.
There's some players in the league that can dominate a game. We're watching one right here.
First down from the 49, and it's Portis through a big hole. He's on his way for a Denver touchdown.
Okay, if you watched football in the 2000s, you'd have to be living under a rock if you forgot about Clinton Portis. But when we talk about the greatest running backs of that decade, names like Marshall Faulk, Adrian Peterson, and Edgerrin James take center stage. While Portis didn't quite reach their level of production, we're here to tell you just how dominant this guy was.
Inside the 10, inside the 5, into the end zone for another touchdown.
Greasy off play action, then throws underneath the Portis. 40, look at that. Whoa! 40, 30, 20, what a run! Oh my, Clinton Portis!
Oh, Sharon Hurts right now is looking for a place to hide.
Drafted by Denver in the second round, Portis was an instant sensation in 2002, putting up close to 1,900 yards from scrimmage through his first 2 seasons. He wasn't just good either, he was electric. Portis had a rare combination of speed, power, and vision, making him a perfect fit in Mike Shanahan's zone blocking scheme.
As the Broncos try to cash in on the turnover, and it's Portis through the hole and into the end zone.
Portis again, big hole. Portis, touchdown. Portis is back in there, breaks a tackle. Portis, touchdown.
Hands for the Chiefs. Heap with the lead block for Portis, and a quick pocket runs, and through goes. Up the race with Woods.
He's one of just 6 players ever to rush for at least 3,000 yards through their first 2 campaigns. Portis was traded to Washington in 2004, where he became the focal point of Joe Gibbs' run-heavy offense. From 2004 to 2008, only LaDainian Tomlinson had more carries.
Clinton Portis, goodbye, no flags, touchdown. And the pitch going to Portis, looks like he wants to throw, and the pass is caught by Cooley for the touchdown. Handoff is to Portis. Clinton Portis trying to get around Hood. He does. Touchdown. He gets bottled up inside. Again, look at what he's able to do on the spin move.
Portis racked up at least 1,200 yards in 4 or 5 seasons in that stretch. With nearly 10,000 career rushing yards and 75 touchdowns, he cemented himself as one of the toughest and most versatile backs in the league.
So, I mean, he is a tough guy. Watch him right there. I mean, now when you draw up a chip block, that is a chip block.
Yet, injuries at the tail end of his career and a quiet retirement have left his legacy underappreciated, but let's remember him for what he truly was, one of the best to ever do it. There are some players throughout NFL history who leave a lasting mark on their teams, fans, and cities, yet their names fade from the spotlight. Cornelius Bennett, or Biscuit as he was affectionately known, is one of those legends. Drafted 2nd overall in 1987, Bennett's impact was felt with a 4-sack performance at the end of his rookie year.
Bennett having a field day.
A 5-time Pro Bowler and 1988 All-Pro, he was the heart and soul of the Bills' defense during its unprecedented run to 4 straight Super Bowls. While Buffalo's high-powered offense grabbed headlines, it was Bennett and Bruce Smith who anchored the defense, making critical plays in key moments.
4-man rush, and Marino has the ball dislodged. It's a line football and a touchdown for Bennett. Bennett forced it, recovered it, and scores.
Walt Corey said, I'm going to look for our big plays from this man tonight, Cornelius Bennett. He's all we got that makes the big play.
Bledsoe stands in that time and throws an interception. Picked off by Cornelius Bennett. Bennett down the sideline with one man to beat. Cornelius Bennett will take it for the touchdown.
Bennett was strong enough to stop the run and agile enough to pressure quarterbacks, 70-plus career sacks, 31 forced fumbles, and nearly 1,200 tackles. He terrorized offenses in an era dominated by physical play.
Gives the ball off to Suey. He's hit behind the line of scrimmage. Good. You should appreciate that.
Cornelius Bennett.
Yet despite his accolades, Bennett's name often gets lost in conversations about the NFL's top linebackers. After a legendary run in Buffalo, he landed with the Falcons and Colts to finish out his 14-year career.
Is devoured. Cornelius Bennett.
Shotgun, Rob Conrad, the rookie, is in. Here comes the blitz. Marino, good protection, but in trouble. Down, fumbles the ball. Cornelius Bennett was the first man there.
A game changer, a leader, and one of the greatest forgotten players in NFL history. From one Bills hero to another, we spotlight wideout Eric Moulds, a name that should be synonymous with greatness but often gets overlooked. Drafted by Buffalo in 1996, it took him a few years to truly blossom.
Underneath Moulds, and he breaks a tackle. He's got speed. Moulds at the 30-yard line. What an individual performance. Touchdown. 70 yards. Eric Moulds on a completely individual effort after he caught the ball.
1998 was that year as Moulds set a career high with nearly 1,400 receiving yards. That was also a franchise record at the time. From there, he quickly became one of the most dominant receivers of his era. Moulds played 10 seasons with the Bills, topping 1,000 yards 4 times.
To the side, caught by Eric Moulds, breaks a tackle, gets a great block, and there he goes! It's a foot race with the linebacker. Derek Rogers and Moulds will win this, and Buffalo is on the board.
And it is taken to the 3-yard line by Eric Moulds. Moulds to the 20. He has a head of steam out. He's to the 50-yard line. He could bust it all the way, and he's going to. Oh!
That's a touchdown. What a job. That's pure speed, Charlie.
Scoreboard changes again.
Moulds had the 5th most catches in the league from 1998 to 2005. More than just a stat sheet stuffer, he was a physical force, making ridiculous contested catches.
Oh, what a catch by Eric Moulds!
And a home run threat whenever the ball was in his hands.
Let's it go across the middle. Moulds has it. They went for the interception, didn't get it. It's a foot race. Steve Israel can't get him. Touchdown, Buffalo.
Moulds stepped up when it mattered, too. See his 240-yard wildcard game in 1998, still an all-time postseason record.
And Flutie going deep, and it is caught inside the 5-yard line, and for the touchdown, Eric Moulds.
He wrapped up an outstanding career with 764 catches and nearly 10,000 yards, all while playing with a revolving door of quarterbacks. Unfortunately, his time came just as Buffalo's greatest era was ending, but make no mistake, Moulds was a true superstar.
Right at midfield. Fumble, ball's on the ground, and the Bengals have it. And it's a race to the end zone. Takeo spikes.
When you think of the greatest linebackers of the new millennium, names like Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, and Patrick Willis are at the top of the list. But what about Takeo Spikes? Despite a long, illustrious career, he remains one of the most underrated defenders of his generation.
Millard on 3rd down, takes a look in the end zone, makes a throw, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Takeo Spikes.
3rd down, long 12. Oh, here comes the rush, and Takeo Spikes on the drive, up the middle, untouched.
Maybe it's because he journeyed across the league with 5 different teams over his 15-year career. At his peak, Spikes was a 2-time Pro Bowler and an All-Pro with the Bills from 2003 to 2006. Known for his leadership, tenacity, and relentless work ethic, Spikes was well respected as one of the fiercest competitors in the NFL.
Bowler throws short, and Ricard is stacked by Spikes.
49ers 15. McNabb with time. And it's intercepted. 2nd and 10. And Flacco has this one picked off at the 27-yard line. Takeo Spikes. Spikes across the 50.
inside the 30.
His 1,400 tackles speak for themselves. Spikes was a powerhouse, yet he never got the recognition he deserved, largely because he never played in a single playoff game. Despite his playoff absence, Spikes was the anchor of every defense he played on. Okay, our next superstar is a controversial subject. Most of us remember Albert Haynesworth as the $100 million free agent who flamed out in Washington. But let's shed some light on how he was able to secure a deal like that in the first place.
A mix-up in the backfield, and they've got to eat it. A loss.
And that's actually big Albert Haynesworth.
And you're right, it's Haynesworth.
Showing his athletic ability.
One of the most dominant defensive linemen of his era, Haynesworth was an unstoppable force at 6'6", 350 pounds. The first-round pick was a steady contributor through his first 5 seasons, but never quite reached his full potential. That is, until a monster stretch from 2007 to 2008.
Garrard in trouble. Garrard sacked, and it's over. Albert Haynesworth.
Jackson. Can't get away.
He was named first-team All-Pro in back-to-back seasons and even finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2007. He racked up 8.5 sacks in 2008, pretty big feat for an interior lineman. Teams had to double or triple team him, and even then, it didn't guarantee success. Haynesworth was the cornerstone of a Titans defense that ranked among the NFL's best throughout the 2000s.
Just going into the fourth period. After a 20-yard punt return by Willard Harrell, the Cardinals with the ball. Anderson breaks it to the 20, to the 15. He's going to go. Touchdown, Ottis Anderson.
If there was a single player that truly epitomized this series, Ottis Anderson would be him. He's rarely, if ever, discussed today as an all-time great running back, overshadowed by guys like Walter Payton and Tony Dorsett, and with his prime spent with the struggling Cardinals. We're here to show the legend some love.
This is Anderson again. 30. He may go. Anderson may go. He's to the 30, the 25. He's going to break it all the way. Touchdown.
That was Anderson's NFL debut, and his 193 yards were the most he'd ever have in a game. Anderson burst onto the scene in 1979, rushing for over 1,600 yards, setting a then-rookie record. He was named first-team All-Pro in the process.
Ground, the Masters over there, and what an effort. He's going to break it. Anderson's going to take it for the touchdown. And Anderson, just a great individual effort on his part.
You don't think that's a great athlete? He started out there was nothing there, so he waited for a while. There's some players in the league that can dominate a game. We're watching one right here.
In fact, from 1979 to 1984, only Sweetness totaled more rushing yards. Anderson developed into an all-around back, too, catching 70 passes in 1984. He gained over 9,500 yards from scrimmage through his first 6 seasons.
And they give him a test, and Anderson breaks into the clear at the 40. Aaron Mitchell misses him at the 10. Anderson is gone to the first play from scrimmage.
After a stellar start to his career, injury slowed him down, but Anderson reinvented himself with the Giants. He won a ring as a backup in 1986, then clawed his way back to the starting role in 1989, where he notched another 1,000-yard season at age 32. In Super Bowl 25, he was the heartbeat of the offense, earning MVP honors with a tough performance that helped secure the New York victory.
And look at Ottis Anderson throw the uppercut. Mark Kelso comes in to make the hit. Look at him wind up. Second and goal at the 1. Touchdown Anderson.
Over 10,000 rushing yards, 2 Super Bowl rings, and a legacy of resilience, he should have a gold jacket.
Carries inside the 10-yard line. I think that was a flea flicker. And I think Anderson, seeing that the quarterback was not in position, did that on his own. Made a big gain out of it.
It seemed like tight end Frank Wycheck flew under the radar for the majority of his career, but his impact as one of the most versatile tight ends of his generation is undeniable.
30 yards on this drive, 3rd and goal. And there is Ronnie Harmon in for the score. Great block by Frank Wycheck there, and H-back pulling and opening up a nice hole.
there throwing. Wycheck makes the catch and bangs his way into the end zone.
A minute 48 left, first half. The quick throw, razzle-dazzle, Wycheck to Dyson! Touchdown!
Originally selected by Washington in the 6th round of the '93 draft, Wycheck found a home with the Houston Oilers and later the Tennessee Titans throughout the '90s and 2000s. Over his 11-year career, Wycheck put up over 5,000 receiving yards and was named to 3 straight Pro Bowls from 1998 to 2000.
Gets another block, pass down the sideline, lays it right over the defender, and Frank Wycheck goes into the end zone for the touchdown. What a play!
In his prime years from 1996 to 2001, he caught the most passes by any tight end in the league. Wycheck led the team in catches for 5 consecutive seasons and was a great run blocker for its smash-mouth approach. What solidifies Wycheck's legacy is his role in the Music City Miracle, a play etched in NFL lore.
By Neal, he gives it to Wycheck. Wycheck, that looked like a forward pass. Taken by Dyson. Dyson getting the sideline. Dyson's gonna go all the way.
His perfect lateral helped propel the Titans to the Super Bowl in that magical '99 season. Despite Wycheck's achievements, he rarely gets the recognition he deserves. Overshadowed by flashier stars, he's a reminder that greatness doesn't always show up in the box score.
Manning back to throw on second down, flips it out, intercepted, picked off, and this will be a touchdown. Sam Madison, 7th interception of the season.
A cornerstone of Miami's great defenses from the late 90s and early 2000s, Sam Madison put the clamps on opposing receivers. The second-round pick broke out in year 2 with 8 picks, tied for second most in the league.
It's intercepted, picked off by Sam Madison. Madison looks for blocking help. Jukes the man, and will take this one toward the stands. Stewart picked off, intercepted by Sam Madison. That's his second of the day. He's just dropped that ball in. Overshot Brown. Now he is crunched.
Elway, 11 out of 29. He is 0 for his last 7. And now he's 0 for 8 with a pick-off.
And there
Sam
is number
Madison.
8 for Madison. And Madison this time shows great ball skills.
In fact, Madison intercepted 20 total passes from 1998 to 2000, tops in the NFL. Paired with the great Pat Surtain, they formed one of the greatest cornerback tandems in league history. The Dolphins allowed the fewest passing yards in the league from 1998 to 2001.
McDaniel picked up by Madison. Holy cow, he did it again.
Scrambling, and then dumps it off at the last minute to Morris, who sheds one tackle, fumbles the ball, and it goes right in the arms of number 29, Sam Madison. Touchdown, Miami.
Madison made 4 Pro Bowls and was named first-team All-Pro twice. Led by an elite defense featuring Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor, Miami made 5 straight playoff appearances from 1997 to 2001. Madison's 38 career picks ranks among the best of his era, and his physical coverage made him a nightmare for offenses.
From the 43, Kidna looking for McDonald, it's picked off on the deflection by Sam Madison.
And let's not forget, he capped off his career as a Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants, bringing veteran leadership to their historic upset of the undefeated Patriots. Madison was a game changer, and it's time the football world remembers one of the greatest DBs who ever graced the gridiron.
Pump fake. Gannon now reverses his field and will run with it. Rich Gannon, touchdown, Minnesota, what a dash!
Rich Gannon, a name that doesn't always come up when discussing legendary quarterbacks, so let us tell you how good he really was. Drafted in the 4th round in 1987, his NFL path didn't start with the hype of a franchise savior. For years, he was seen as just another journeyman quarterback. Good, but not great. He spent 6 average seasons with the Vikings through 1992, but his career blossomed later that decade.
Gannon's play action. Time to throw. Down the middle, wide open. Cut, jet,
rising.
Gannon's 4-year stint in Kansas City was enough to sell John Gruden on the veteran QB. In just his second year as Raiders head coach, Gruden needed a quarterback who could lead his West Coast offense. And boy, did the Gannon signing pay off.
Touchdown is on the move. Gannon rolling. Here comes the rush. Gets away from Lewis. Gets away from Ferguson to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown.
Gannon goes for the end zone. Touchdown! Tim Brown!
4 trips. Gannon with the keeper. The 10, the 5, touchdown!
Gannon's career took off in the silver and black. From 1999 to 2002, he totaled more passing yards and touchdowns than Hall of Famers Brett Favre and Kurt Warner. Gannon was named All-Pro in 2000 with a knack for dissecting defenses and extending plays. He turned the Raiders into perennial contenders, and his brilliance was on full display in 2002.
10 yards or less.
First and 20 from the 29. Gannon going deep, and he's got Portis for a touchdown. Inside the 31. Good block by Sims. Time for Gannon. Right down the middle. It's caught by Garner. It's a foot race, and he's in for the touchdown.
He led the league in passing yards and earned NFL MVP honors, guiding the Raiders to their first Super Bowl in nearly 2 decades.
Gannon with time. Lots of time. Throws, end zone, touchdown!
Though the Super Bowl didn't go his way, Gannon's impact was undeniable. He's undoubtedly one of the top free agent signings in NFL history. When you ponder the greatest wideouts of the 2000s, who comes to mind? Maybe T.O. How about Larry Fitzgerald? Of course, we can't leave out Randy Moss. But what about another guy with Moss on the back of his jersey?
With the gap, holy Toledo! Somebody broke a tackle, and they will not catch him. Santana Moss, a 65-yard touchdown, and he becomes the first New York Jet to catch touchdowns in 5 consecutive games.
With over 10,000 career receiving yards, Santana Moss was a game changer. His speed, route running, and ability to shine in critical moments made him a defensive nightmare. Who remembers Washington's Monday Night Miracle in 2005?
Brunell hanging in, going deep, and the pass is caught for a touchdown by Santana Moss.
Or, you bring in a Santana Moss, and he's going to be your deep threat. You didn't have a lot of big plays last year. Good defense is when you can stop those plays.
From the 30, Brunell going deep for Moss again. He makes the catch, and Santana Moss for a touchdown.
But let's backtrack. Originally drafted by the Jets in 2001, Moss finally broke out a couple years later with a career-best 10 touchdowns in 2003. He proved to be just as dynamic in the return game, too.
Santana Moss eludes the first man, kicks out of another tackle, still on his feet, one man to beat, and he can't get him. Touchdown! Moss has done it again.
Moss was acquired by Washington in a trade ahead of the 2005 campaign. His presence was felt immediately, exploding for nearly 1,500 receiving yards in his best career season. But despite his stellar performances, Moss was often overlooked, playing on teams that struggled to make deep playoff runs. His impact, though, was undeniable. Moss averaged 1,000 yards per season from 2005 to 2010, and he's one of Washington's most prolific receivers of all time.
What a catch on the sideline, Santana Moss. He's on his way to Washington's victory. Santana Moss, oh my, 68-yard winner.
Michael Dean Perry, certainly not a name in the zeitgeist of all-time D tackles, but if you watched him play in the 80s and 90s, you know he was a force to be reckoned with. At 6'1" and over 290 pounds, Perry wasn't just a massive presence on the field, he was a master technician who had the production to go with it.
Here's Walls on the corner blitz, and Michael Dean Perry.
Barry Foster, also second in the NFL in total yards from scrimmage, loses more.
Perry made 5 Pro Bowls with the Browns in a 6-year stretch from 1989 to 1994, not to mention back-to-back All-Pro seasons in that span. Perry and the Browns finished with a top 10 scoring defense 4 times between 1988 and 1994.
And Sanders is caught from behind.
Third down play. Cunningham under pressure is sacked back at the 1-yard line.
He looks for Allen, but can't find him.
His ability to shed blockers and pressure quarterbacks earned him 61 career sacks, third most by an NFL D tackle during the span of his career. After a fantastic run with the Browns, Perry landed in Denver, making his 6th Pro Bowl trip in 1996.
Into the end zone.
The New York Giants of the 80s were built on grit, toughness, and execution. At the heart of their offense, Joe Morris, the 5'7" Dynamo who defied the odds and ran through the entire league. From 1985 to 1986, Morris was unstoppable.
And here's Morris. Broke a tackle to unleash the 58-yard run by Morris.
The Giants have had it all the way. Morris hit behind the line of scrimmage, and a great second effort results in a touchdown.
He scored a league-high 21 touchdowns in 1985, along with over 1,500 yards from scrimmage. Morris was an All-Pro the next year with over 1,500 rushing yards and another 15 scrimmage touchdowns. He led the G-Men all the way to the franchise's first ever Super Bowl win. He scored a league-high 21 touchdowns in 1985, along with over 1,500 yards from scrimmage. Morris was an All-Pro the next year with over 1,500 rushing yards and another 15 touchdowns. He led the G-Men all the way to the franchise's first ever Super Bowl win.
Morris is gone.
The great undersized back would retire as the Giants' all-time leading rusher. The 90s were full of legendary defenders, but one name that rarely gets the spotlight is Terry McDaniel, a lockdown corner who was as dominant as he was overlooked. Over an 11-year career, mostly with the Raiders, McDaniel racked up 35 interceptions and scored 8 career defensive touchdowns.
What'll he do? Intercepted! Terry McDaniel! Touchdown!
From their 7. Bledsoe picked off for a touchdown.
The Ball Hawk made the Pro Bowl every year from 1992 to 1996. The Raiders hampered offenses around the league, allowing the 6th fewest passing yards in the NFL during McDaniel's 10 seasons there.
Always stays in. Throws intercepted by Terry McDaniel, and McDaniel has a touchdown. Well protected over the middle. Intercepted, Terry McDaniel.
Sadly, the team's success just wasn't there. The Raiders won only 50% of their games from 1988 to 1997. McDaniel also had to compete for notoriety with the likes of Dion, Darrell Green, Rod Woodson, just to name a few. Still, he was a prototype for the modern cornerback, fast, physical, and capable of shutting down the league's best receivers.
Meyer to the air, going for the end zone, and picked off. An acrobatic, spectacular interception, just taking it out.
He said what a humbling experience to be up there with those guys. Here's the interception. The pick by Terry McDaniel.
He may not be a household name, but make no mistake, he was one of the best to ever do it. He's the first player in NFL history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. Let's show some love to the great linebacker Ken Norton Jr.
Still free. That's Norton. Who else? Give him a touchdown. He deserves it. Ken Norton.
The son of a boxing champion who took down the great Muhammad Ali, Norton Jr. starred with Dallas and San Francisco in a phenomenal 13-year career. Known for his physicality and football IQ, Norton was the glue guy for 2 of the greatest teams ever. His versatility allowed him to thrive in any system, whether chasing down running backs or dominating in pass coverage.
Cunningham is being rushed. It's intercepted by Ken Norton Jr., and he'll run it in for the touchdown. 3 touchdowns, but on passes from outside the 20, and Sanders gets knocked down.
Norton elevated everyone around him, playing alongside stars like Charles Haley, Bryant Young, Darren Woodson, and so many more. But despite his 3 rings, Pro Bowl nods, and countless big game moments, Norton is rarely mentioned among the NFL's all-time great linebackers. Why is that? Well, maybe it's because he shared the limelight with so many of those top stars we just mentioned.
Norton in the end zone, touchdown, San Francisco. Millard. Pass is picked off by Norton. And he might go sailing again. Ken Norton's 2nd touchdown of the day.
Here they come, and they got it.
Credited with over 1,200 tackles, the All-Pro linebacker should never be forgotten. After his playing days were done, he started a career in coaching where he mentored a future Hall of Fame middle linebacker.
Teetering on the brink of elimination, but still very much alive. They've got a pulse as Flacco throws, and it's caught by Heap. High to grab the ball at the goal line. Touchdown!
From 2002 to 2010, Todd Heap ranked in the top 5 in catches, yards, and touchdowns among tight ends. In an era dominated by big names, he quietly carved out a great career as one of the most reliable targets of the decade.
Redmond for the end zone, and it's caught! Todd Heap for the touchdown. And Baltimore in business, a 1st and 10 at the 20. Boot left. Redmond sets it up nicely for Heap. Great move by Heap, staying on his feet and lunging to the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore.
What a weapon. Right, launches it again. This time for Todd Heap.
Drafted by the Ravens in 2001, Heap quickly became the go-to target in an offense that desperately needed playmakers. Heap made back-to-back Pro Bowls in 2002 and 2003. He wasn't flashy, but he was dependable. Whether it was blocking in the run game, converting on 3rd down, or in the red zone, Heap delivered when it mattered most. Over the course of his 10-year Ravens career, he set a then-franchise record for receiving touchdowns.
Backpedaling, throws deep into the end zone for Heap. Did he come down with it? Yes, touchdown!
1st and 10, 43-yard line for rookie quarterback Kyle Bull, winding it downfield, looking for Heap. Oh, he caught it with one hand. I like that. What a catch. What a reception. He held on to it, too. That's something like Tony Gonzalez would do at Kansas City.
His career may not be the loudest in NFL history, but his play and those Heap chants in Baltimore did all the talking. It's time to give him the recognition he deserves. In the late 1980s, there was one defensive tackle who dominated the trenches like few others.
Fumble. Vikings, touchdown!
Drafted by the Vikings in 1984, Keith Millard first opted for a season in the USFL. As the upstart league quickly declined, Millard joined Minnesota and immediately wreaked havoc. 21.5 sacks through his first 2 seasons.
Couple of plays. Brock being sacked by Millard, the big pass rusher.
Out of the shotgun, Randy Wright, 3rd and 8. That was Keith Millard with a sack.
1st and 10 at the 28 of Philadelphia. Cunningham, bread and butter pass, won't get it off. Keith Millard.
In 1989, Millard set an NFL record for defensive tackles with 18 sacks, a record that stood for nearly 30 years before Aaron Donald broke it. He was the clear choice for Defensive Player of the Year.
Hit ball, interception, Millard. Barry Sanders after him.
Backside pressure, ball's loose. Picked up by Millard. Touchdown, Vikings.
Millard was unstoppable with a combination of strength, speed, and technique. He was a 2-time All-Pro and notched 51 sacks through his first 70 games. Sadly, a knee injury in 1990 severely impeded his career. If not for that, Millard would have been on a Hall of Fame trajectory. For a brief period, he was the best interior D lineman in football.
Good job by O'Brien to get it all to him. O'Brien to throw on 1st down again. As a receiver again. Al Toon breaks loose.
One of the highest drafted Jets receivers in team history turned out to be the real deal for New York in the 1980s. 10th overall pick, Al Toon was one of the most electrifying receivers of his era. By his 2nd season, he was already an All-Pro. Toon made 3 straight Pro Bowl trips from 1986 to 1988, making plays like this.
15, O'Brien starts to slip, throws over the middle, Toon juggles, makes the catch inside the 10, upended at the 9-yard line.
Sure. No play action, but a shot. Touchdown!
The sure-handed target paced the NFL with 93 catches in 1988. Toon was lost in the shuffle playing on some bad Jets teams from 1986 to 1991, but only Jerry Rice had more catches. At 6'4", the lanky wideout had the speed to match his size, and he made defenders pay.
O'Brien back in the pocket.
to Toon. Toon still on his feet. Toon still on his feet. Al Toon is going to score.
2nd down and 8. O'Brien looks left, throws that way to Toon. Touchdown, Jets. A 12-yard strike, but what a catch by Al Toon. 5th catch of the day for him.
He racked up over 500 career catches and nearly 7,000 receiving yards in just 8 seasons. Unfortunately, repeated concussions forced him to retire after the '92 season at the age of 29. Toon certainly had all the tools to reach the 10,000-yard club. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Nolan Cromwell was the definition of a playmaker.
Oh, it's an interception and a touchdown. There is Cromwell.
After a successful career as a quarterback with the Kansas Jayhawks, Cromwell was drafted by the Rams as a DB in 1977. His versatility and instincts made him one of the best defenders of his era.
And Todd's throw is intercepted, and this is trouble. This is going to be Nolan Cromwell when he sails into the end zone for a touchdown.
And DeBerg trying to get something going. And he throws it right to Nolan Cromwell. And Cromwell trying to cut back. He's to the 10, to the 5, and goes into the end zone.
There wasn't a better free safety in the early 80s. Cromwell was named All-Pro in 3 straight seasons and was close to winning Defensive Player of the Year in 1980. He picked off 37 career passes, but it was what he did after that set him apart. No player had more interception return yards from 1979 to 1987.
Intercepted and a clean pass. Nolan Cromwell. No flags, touchdown, 81 yards.
Cromwell played in 12 postseason games, including Super Bowl 14. He was a complete defensive back, capable of shutting down receivers and stopping the run. Not to mention a trick play threat on special teams, Cromwell scored 3 rushing touchdowns on fake field goals. Give it up for the Rams legend.
It's a touchdown. Cromwell goes in for the score.
If he hits it, it'll be 6-0 Los Angeles. Cromwell holds, and they work a fake out of it. Cromwell racing for the first down, and then some. Cromwell near the goal line. Touchdown. He took it all the way in.
Few linebackers could match the versatility and dominance of Chad Brown. 79 career sacks and nearly 1,100 tackles. Brown lasted 15 years in the NFL, mostly with Pittsburgh and Seattle. His career took off in the Steel City with 31 sacks in his first 4 seasons.
There's the blitz and the sack. Garrison Hurst, the tailback. Late to throw, and here's pressure again, and he's going to be sacked again. Both backs are in the block, and here's a sack. The luxury they cannot afford. They're still in the ballgame. Blake, here's pressure. Chad Brown.
Wow. They are just getting all
Here's
over.
a sack. Chad Brown gets a half. Carlos Emmons gets a half.
Together with Kevin Green, Greg Lloyd, and Levon Kirkland, this was one of the scariest linebacker units ever assembled. Blitzburg amassed 190 total sacks from 1993 to 96, easily tops in the league. After making 4 straight playoff trips and reaching a Super Bowl with the Steelers, Brown reached new heights in Seattle, earning another All-Pro selection.
Elway chased by Sinclair. Fumble picked up by Chad Brown. Touchdown, Seattle. 2nd and 10. Davis hit the backfield by Chad Brown.
A loss of 1 on the play. Very strange. Gannon deflected. Intercepted. Chad Brown.
Brown played 8 seasons with the Seahawks and helped lay the foundation for the Mike Holmgren era. He could dominate as a pass rusher, drop into coverage, or blow up running plays with ease. Brown recorded 10 straight seasons with at least 5 sacks from 1994 to 2003.
Flexibility, and here's another sack.
Even with all the production and extensive experience, Brown's legacy often gets lost among flashier stars of that era. Let's pay homage to an elite forgotten linebacker.
Chad Brown got it.
5-time Pro Bowl wideout Anthony Miller should be mentioned way more among the best playmakers of the 90s. He was ultra consistent for the Chargers and Broncos, notching 5 career 1,000-yard campaigns, and he was dynamite in the return game early on.
Miller at the 9. Got an opening.
Jaeger to beat. He outran him. Miller, touchdown.
During his 7-year peak from 1989 to 1995, Miller totaled the 5th most receiving yards and touchdowns in the NFL. He outproduced Hall of Famers like Tim Brown, Andre Reed, and Chris Carter during that stretch.
Humphreys going for it all on 3rd and 8. Anthony Miller, touchdown, San Diego.
Play action fake to Bernstein. Anthony Miller, and this one he holds on to. He said he was not touched down. He may not have been.
He's in the shotgun. Laufenberg, and it's complete. Anthony Miller, touchdown.
Miller spread out his production over the years, a career high in receiving yards with the Bolts in 1989. 1993 saw Miller catch a career best 84 passes, while he hauled in a whopping 14 touchdowns with Denver in 1995.
We got to sing simple.
Milburn, on his way. Can they catch him? Milburn, 77 yards. No, it's Anthony Miller.
2nd and inches. Elway going for the end zone. Touchdown, Miller.
Miller racked up over 9,000 career receiving yards and scored 67 touchdowns in an outstanding 10-year career. Raise your hand if you remember William Fuller. No, not the Texans receiver. This Fuller could bring the boom on your favorite quarterbacks.
Milton in trouble. William Fuller wraps him up and sacks him at the 36-yard line.
Singleton was the man in motion. Through the end zone safety as he is hurled to the ground by the Eagle rush.
I think the thing is you're going to see the pressure come right here from William Fuller. You see, he starts up the field, and then he just takes his guy both ways.
A member of the prestigious 100 Sack Club, Fuller was a nightmare for offensive linemen, a dominant pass rusher with incredible consistency. The D-end made 4 career Pro Bowls. Starring in both Houston and Philly, Fuller averaged 10 sacks per season from 1988 to 1996.
And the fumble. And it's Bubba McDowell and picked up by William Fuller for a touchdown.
And then he'll get to the rest of the D-line.
First down from the 22. Rodney Peete is nailed from behind. William Fuller.
He set a career high with 15 QB takedowns with the Oilers in 1991 before signing a big free agent deal with the Eagles a few years later. Fuller recorded double-digit sacks in 4 different seasons and was a vital member of any defense he played on.
They're going to run the ball. Fumble. The Eagles have it. Just come through. Now watch the head right on the ball, right there. That's William Fuller. Fuller's coming back inside because of a stunt they'd run.
To right. Miller in trouble again. And down he goes again.
He contributed to 7 top 10 total defenses during his 13-year career. Fuller had a strong postseason pedigree too, appearing in 13 playoff games, so it's hard to understand why he's not discussed among the game's greatest pass rushers.
So somewhere he has to get the ball a little deeper too.
Green breaks out of the pack, and Ahman Green. I don't think they're going to catch him.
In the early 2000s, Ahman Green was one of the most productive running backs in the NFL. Sure, the Packers had Brett Favre slinging it, but you could argue that Green was actually the engine of the Green Bay offense in those years. After starting his career quietly with the Seahawks, Green found his true home with the Cheeseheads.
Green, big hole, and the Packers are right back in the game. See Brett Favre about to get something done.
Come on, Green stuck.
Touchdown.
Spins his way in. Touchdown, Packers.
Packers with 2 touchdowns on 2 possessions. This their 3rd. Ahman Green bounces away from a tackle and has a blocker. Antonio Freeman laid a block, and Green goes down the sideline. No one's going to catch him. 83 yards for the touchdown. Ahman Green's 2nd score of the game.
But Ahman showed his breakaway speed and the ability to finish a run.
From 2000 to 2004, he was nearly unstoppable, gaining the most rushing yards in the league. This is a golden age of NFL running backs, too. Green's peak came in 2003, where he went off for over 2,200 yards and 20 touchdowns.
4th and 1, they give the ball to Green. First down, and inside the 20, inside the 10, touchdown.
Red Sox Yankees with a chance to close out the ALCS. Give is to Green. He throws it for Driver. Got it. Touchdown Packers.
Here's Ahman Green. Ahman Green in a foot race. Tony Dixon, the only one who can try and get him, and they won't. Green with a big 90-yard touchdown run.
Ahman Green and Nick Lucci in the backfield. And this is
Green. Look at Green. All by himself.
That 98-yard score was the longest run in franchise history. He was one of the few backs who could carry the load every single game and still deliver explosive plays. Despite being the Packers' all-time leading rusher, Green's name rarely comes up in conversations about the greats. He's undoubtedly one of the most underrated players of his era.
But when you have that kind of speed and strength and you're Ahman Green, you can take it like that.
In a career spanning 13 seasons, Donnie Edwards was one of the most consistent linebackers in the NFL. With a high football IQ and solid playmaking ability, Edwards quietly put together a career that deserves far more recognition.
Here they come up the middle, and down he goes for the sack at the 25-yard line. Donnie Edwards.
Here comes the corner blitz. Tomzak intercepted. Donnie Edwards heading for the goal line, and he is in for the touchdown. Oh, he lost the ball. It's loose. Picked up by Edwards. It's a live ball. He'll gallop in for the touchdown.
Drafted by Kansas City, Edwards quickly became a tackling machine. Beginning in 1997, he went on an 11-year streak of 100 or more tackles. We told you he was consistent. He'd go on to join the Chargers, where he'd earn his first and only Pro Bowl nod in 2002.
Well, so far this year it's been an unbeatable defense. Here is Plummer throwing, intercepted. It'll go for a touchdown. Donnie Edwards.
And the interception. Donnie Edwards to the end zone. Touchdown.
Edwards had 129 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns that year. He gained a reputation as one of the league's most reliable players, missing just a single game from 1997 to 2007. That's incredible for a middle linebacker.
And it's picked off. Intercepted by Donnie Edwards. Donnie Edwards remaining on his feet.
Records at Central Catholic High. Bulger underneath. The Revenite fumbles. And it's picked up again by the Chargers. Donnie Edwards.
Which has 3 linemen, 4 linebackers. Collins is hit. Big blitz from Donnie Edwards. And a big hit.
This second half. Kansas City coming on the blitz. And Dilfer will be sacked.
Edwards rejoined the Chiefs for his final 2 campaigns. All told, he had over 1,500 tackles and 28 interceptions. Edwards was more than just a great linebacker. He was a mainstay in the center of NFL defenses.